The ultimate revenge on a narcissist. Silence that kills, watch how quiet destroys them. Psychologists often say that in the dance between narcissist and empath, power flows not from words but from restraint. Silence, in this context, is not the absence of communication but the presence of boundaries. It is, in fact, a mirror that reflects back to the narcissist something they fear most: irrelevance. Welcome back, dear reader, to another exploration into the intricate and often devastating realm of narcissistic dynamics. If you've ever felt small, invisible, or emotionally suffocated by someone who thrives on domination and manipulation, what you're about to learn may transform the way you respond forever. 1. The power of showing them they don't matter. Psychologists describe narcissists as individuals whose self-esteem is built on a fragile and inflated ego, what psychoanalyst Heinz Kohut once called a narcissistic wound waiting to be reopened. When you withdraw your words, your reactions, and your attention, you strike directly at that wound. Silence communicates something their psyche cannot tolerate. You no longer exist at the center of my world. This act of disengagement disarms them because their identity depends on how others perceive them. They need admiration the way a plant needs sunlight. Without it, they wither. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a leading expert on narcissistic abuse, notes that narcissists see relationships as mirrors of their superiority. When that mirror turns blank, they're forced to face the emptiness behind the facade. For the survivor, silence becomes both shield and sword. Rather than retaliating, posting about their cruelty, or arguing to prove your innocence, your quiet presence becomes a declaration of independence. You reclaim your energy, your narrative, and your peace. As Dr. Judith Orloff puts it, the best revenge is happiness. Silence is simply happiness that refuses to be disturbed. 2. The cold shoulder that burns. When a narcissist loses your emotional engagement, it's like a spotlight going dark on their stage. They thrive on reaction, be it love, fear, or anger, because each response feeds their sense of control. So when you withdraw, you're not merely ignoring them, you're dismantling the very mechanism that fuels their behavior. Psychologists explain this as a narcissistic injury. When their sense of superiority is threatened, their internal narrative of power collapses. They will often react with covert hostility, smear campaigns, silent treatment of their own, or attempts to guilt you into responding. Yet, as Dr. Les Carter warns, this is the point where victims must hold the line. Silence must not be performative. It must be purposeful. It's not revenge, it's rehabilitation. For the victim, this phase is about emotional detachment. You are training your nervous system to stop dancing to their emotional tune. Every ignored message, every unanswered provocation, becomes a small act of recovery, a neural rewiring from dependence to freedom. 3. Silence as self-worth in action. Psychologically, silence is the language of dignity. Narcissists interpret your reactions as validation that they still control you. But when you refuse to engage, you signal that your self-worth no longer hinges on their approval. This, as many therapists affirm, is a crucial step toward healing from trauma bonding. Dr. Pete Walker, who writes extensively about complex trauma, explains that people who've endured narcissistic abuse often suffer from fawn responses, the urge to appease abusers to stay safe. Silence disrupts that pattern. It's a quiet, revolutionary act that says, I no longer fear your disapproval. To sustain this mindset, survivors must ground themselves in self-compassion practices, journaling, therapy, mindfulness, and affirmations that remind them of their value outside of others' perceptions. Silence, then, is no longer passive. It becomes the sound of reclaiming one's voice from manipulation. 4. The sting of being ignored. For narcissists, indifference feels like annihilation. Underneath their grandiosity lies deep insecurity. Psychologists call it fragile narcissism. Despite their outward confidence, rejection or dismissal cuts through their false self, exposing the void beneath. When you go silent, they experience what psychoanalyst Otto Kernberg termed narcissistic rage, a volatile mix of shame and fury at being unseen. But their pain is not your responsibility. As Dr. Ramani often emphasizes, empathy does not mean access. Narcissists are experts at using compassion as an entry point back into your emotional world. Therefore, your silence must be paired with firm boundaries and support systems, therapists, trusted friends, or online survivor communities. This combination ensures that your quiet resolve doesn't turn into isolated suffering. When they can no longer provoke or control you, narcissists must finally confront themselves. And that is their greatest fear. As the silence grows, so does their discomfort. For the survivor, this discomfort marks the beginning of liberation, the moment when the noise of manipulation fades and the calm of self-respect returns. 5. Stripping away their control and illusion of power. Silence, when used with intention, is more than disengagement. It is psychological disarmament. According to Dr. Craig Malkin, author of Rethinking Narcissism, narcissists sustain their power through emotional manipulation, guilt, blame, and distortion. They twist words to make themselves the victim, trapping others in cycles of self-doubt. But when you respond with silence, you shatter that dynamic. You take away the one thing they depend on most: emotional fuel. To a narcissist, silence is not neutrality. It's rejection. It strips them of influence, forcing them to face a truth they've spent a lifetime avoiding. Their power only exists if others participate in their games. Psychologists refer to this as a collapse of the narcissistic supply chain. When the victim stops reacting, the narcissist's control over the emotional narrative begins to crumble. Their manipulative language, phrases like, "You've hurt me" or "You misunderstood me," suddenly falls flat, exposing the emptiness underneath their emotional theatrics. For the survivor, this moment marks a profound shift. What once felt like a battle now becomes an act of liberation. By refusing to respond, you redefine the relationship dynamic on your terms. Therapists often encourage this strategy as part of boundary reinforcement. It doesn't punish the narcissist. It protects the self. Through silence, you reclaim authority over your emotions, and the narcissist, unable to control the silence, finds themselves drowning in it. 6. The psychology of choosing yourself. When you choose silence over reaction, you're doing something extraordinary. You're breaking the cycle of emotional dependency. Narcissists crave attention the way an addict craves a fix. Every reaction, whether anger, pleading, or tears, feeds their ego and reaffirms their dominance. But when you stay silent, you're denying them that psychological nourishment. Dr. Ramani Durvasula often explains that narcissists cannot tolerate emotional ambiguity. Your calm quietness confuses them. It denies them the satisfaction of seeing you destabilized. Psychologically, this creates what experts call cognitive dissonance, the painful internal conflict that occurs when their belief in their superiority collides with the reality of your indifference. That tension drives them into frustration and insecurity because it forces them to confront a version of themselves they can't manipulate. For you, this silence isn't passive. It's active recovery. As trauma specialists like Dr. Gabor Mate remind us, healing begins when you stop negotiating your worth. Every quiet moment you claim for yourself reprograms your nervous system away from hypervigilance and toward peace. You're teaching your mind and body that you no longer need to perform for love, validation, or safety. Your silence becomes your sanctuary, a calm rebellion against chaos. 7. Making them feel small in a world they once controlled. When you ignore a narcissist, you don't just withdraw attention, you remove the stage they built to showcase their false grandiosity. Psychologists often note that narcissists operate within a fragile illusion of superiority. Beneath their arrogance lies a deep, unhealed shame, a fear of being ordinary, invisible, or forgotten. Silence punctures that illusion. It tells them, "You're no longer the center of my world." And for a narcissist, that realization is devastating. According to clinical psychologist Dr. Eleanor Greenberg, narcissists depend on others to stabilize their sense of identity. When that external validation disappears, their internal world begins to collapse. They may react with rage, desperate charm, or manipulative pleas. But these are symptoms of panic, not power. They're trying to pull you back into orbit so they can feel significant again. Your job is to resist. For victims, holding this boundary requires immense emotional strength. It means enduring discomfort without reverting to old habits of explaining, defending, or apologizing. But over time, your silence reshapes the psychological landscape. You stop revolving around their chaos, and they, in turn, lose the gravitational pull they once had over you. In this quiet defiance, you become something they can neither understand nor control. Free. The psychology of silence as self-preservation. As we reach the end of this reflection, it's crucial to understand that silence is not cruelty. It's clarity. Psychologists describe it as a boundary of self-preservation, a necessary pause that allows victims of narcissistic abuse to reclaim agency over their lives. Silence is how you end the cycle of emotional warfare. It's the decision to stop explaining your pain to someone committed to misunderstanding it. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, reminds us that recovery from psychological abuse is not just mental. It's somatic. Each time you choose silence, your nervous system learns safety again. You stop reacting to chaos and start responding to peace. It's a process of retraining your mind to prioritize serenity over engagement. So when you refuse to play their game, you're not being distant, you're being deliberate. You're teaching both yourself and the narcissist that your silence is sacred ground, a space where manipulation cannot live. That stillness becomes your healing language, one spoken without words but heavy with strength. If this message resonated with you, share your own experiences below. Your insights could help someone else find courage in their own silence. And if this exploration offered you clarity, consider liking, subscribing, or sharing this space so more survivors can discover the same path toward peace. You are not alone. Healing takes time, but every quiet choice you make is proof of your resilience. Keep standing firm in your truth, and let your silence speak the loudest.